Hi everybody and welcome to the character profile upload for YouTube on Suzie Birchall. Hello, hello, hello and welcome to another one. Sorry about the blurry image of Suzie that we've got for the picture on this. You've got to stare at this for the next 15 minutes or so. It's the best one I could find. This is taken from Conversation Street episode 235, which Gemma and I recorded years back. Back before we knew anything about Suzie Birchall.
And we thought, why would that be a barrier to doing a profile about her?
I kind of knew that she was a friend of Gail's. That's why I'm uploading this week, by the way, because I think Gail needs a friend at the moment, doesn't she? Her family's
she needs to get on the blower.
No use, no ornament to her.
Talk to Suzie.
To get Suzie Birchall or Trisha Hopkins on the phone. One of them needs to come back and cheer her up.
Yeah.
I mean, or Sally, maybe. Sally hasn't been visiting Gail at the hospital, and she's her best friend, apparently.
Yeah. So we talk a bit about friends at the end of this episode, but mostly we're talking about Suzie and what she got up to. And we've seen pretty much...
We've seen a good lot of Suzie now since we've recorded this on the DVDs.
I know all about Suzie, and I stand by everything we said.
I'm still not really fussed by her. Sorry, but you can't win them all. But if you want to, know some information about her, and you don't just want to go and read it on Currypedia, then stay tuned because you're about to find out everything you'd ever possibly want to know about Suzie Birchall. So enjoy. Right, Suzie Birchall, classic character profile, first appeared 40 years ago this week on Coronation Street. It is a name that I've heard of. Have you heard of this name?
Yes, yeah. I definitely remember hearing Suzie Birchall.
I kind of remember, if you were to ask me like a week ago, before I actually did a little bit of research, I would have said, that's about maybe one of Gail's friends from ages ago, and that's about it. And I couldn't say that much more now. I'm not going to say this is the most interesting classic character profile we've done. But if any listeners out there were watching the programme 30, 40 years ago and would like to tell us anything more about Suzie Birchall that we maybe don't get across in our little profile today, please do write in. So, let's find out about her. She was born on the 3rd of May 1958 to Bob and Margaret Birchall. She got married to some guy called Terry Goodwin at some point between 1979 and 1983. That was off screen. She first appeared on the 10th of January 1977 and made her final appearance on Corrie on the 29th of June 1983, which was, how long was that before I was born? 3 days before I was born?
Sounds
Maybe I'm
right.
some kind of reincarnation of Suzie Birchall.
Let's find out. She appeared in 195 episodes and she was played by Cheryl Murray. Yes. Or Cheryl Murray.
I don't know which one it is. I don't know. She was one of these characters that was in it for a few episodes, and then they liked her so much that they brought her in for a full contract. The idea was that she would.
They brought her back for a full refund.
The idea was that she would maybe hopefully become the new Elsie Tanner, which is a bit of an ask, really. And I don't think that she's gone down in the Corrie annals quite as much as old Else has. But I'm
just going to get a picture of her because I told you that I cannot.
There you go, Gemma's looking.
I said to you the other day, didn't I, that I need to have these pictures of people.
How would you describe her now you found some Google images of Suzie Birchall?
She's got like a little doll face.
She looks like she's from the 80s, doesn't she?
Blonde, curly perm.
But she's naturally ginger. Why would a naturally ginger person want to dye their hair blonde?
To match their hair.
Yeah. Did you know it was National Kiss a Ginger Day yesterday?
No. Oh. It didn't really come up.
Well, I saw one of our...
Did you kiss
listeners.
Any gingers?
No, but I did see Sally Ann Matthews angling for kisses on Twitter yesterday.
Hussy.
Right. Maybe this is the thing. Maybe Suzie Birchall had all the people coming after her on National Kiss a Ginger Day, and she's like, "Sorry, lads.
No, I can't deal with all this attention."
Yeah, I'm going blonde. Right. She left home when she was a teenager, before she was in Corrie, of course, because she had very controlling parents. So she went off, did a runner, and didn't tell him where she was gone. So she first appeared on Corrie in 1977 in January, where she got a job in Mike's Clothes Shops, which was Sylvia's separates, and she worked alongside Gail. There was a little bit of friction between them at first, because they couldn't work out who was in charge. They both thought that they were the boss, but then Gail is made manageress, so that put an end to that. And they became friends. They became friends after that.
I like this bit. She gets thrown out of her lodgings and wrangles away under Elsie Tanner's roof with Gail after telling her that her landlord was a Nazi sympathiser.
Yeah, who wouldn't take in a refugee
from the Nazi regime? Elsie admires Susie's sass and confidence, which reminds her of herself.
when she was younger.
And
Also,
makes everybody think that she could be the next Elsie Tanner.
Exactly. So Roger Fleuret was a French guy, a French student who.
Would you really ever be called Roger Fleuret if you were French, or would that just be a silly name like being called Harry Parry?
I don't know. You get that, don't you? He came in.
I get what?
I don't know. You get people with silly names.
I thought you were saying I've got a silly name.
No, you're
I'm sort of Gemma
Suzie and Gail both fancied this Roger Fleuret, who's a French student, and Suzie invited him to stay with them while Elsie is away. He wanted them to go back to France with him, but ultimately he could not choose whether to go off with Gail or Suzie.
Don't pick Gail.
It's the kiss of death. You had a lucky escape there, Rog.
Yeah. Susie's abusive dad, Bob, arrived on the street looking for her.
Doesn't sound like a name of a child.
Watch out, it's Bob!
Bob!
Oh my gosh!
Bob Birchall.
Yeah,
now, that's a name that strikes fear into the heart of man.
That's why they go for Rob these days, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or Bobbert.
Bob and Margaret are like ultimate kind of homely, boring
like
kind of couple, though, aren't they?
Are coming over. You better get the cheese out.
Yeah, there was old program called Bob and Margaret. Do you remember that? It was a cartoon program.
I was thinking it's a cartoon. Isn't it? It was Bob's Burgers. Is that not?
No, it's not that. No, it wasn't Bob's Burgers. It was something that was made in between Channel 4 and Canada.
Was that the weird one where it was a bit funny?
They had big noses.
Yeah, I think I remember. Did they look a bit like Red Bull characters?
Yes. That is it.
Oh.
And it's the tax adverts used to have characters that advert did. But yeah, it was a collaboration between Channel 4 and some Canadian show, and the first series of it was set here, and then they had another series where they went to live in Canada.
I think I remember thinking that was quite funny.
I thought it was brilliant, the bits
I remember watching it with you.
Oh, there we go then. Anyway, that Bob and Margaret.
Bob's on a rampage. He's separated from
Margaret.
Margaret, and he's out for revenge or something. He tries to drag Suzie into his car, but she gets rescued by Baldwin's van driver, Steve Fisher.
Now that is a name I have not heard of, Steve Fisher. He's lost in the mists of time.
Now you know how I feel whenever we do any of this.
Maybe we've mentioned him lots of times and we've forgotten, but I don't know.
Right.
Baldwin's got a van driver. Now, at some point in the year, I've put it next to the notes, but who knows when it happens.
Just read all of it yourself.
Suzie. No, you just read the last one.
My
turn now.
Go on.
Suzie tried to help Elsie clean her chimney by dropping a brick down it. And she got the wrong chimney and ended up covering the Ogdens' living room with soot.
That was my favourite Wallace and Gromit film.
What?
The Wrong Chimney.
It's the wrong chimney, Suzie. The wrong chimney. She gets asked on a date by Mike Baldwin. But Steve... Remember Steve? You've not forgotten him already?
Steve Fisher.
The van driver. He warns Suzie that Mike is only doing it for a bet. But she goes out with him anyway and enjoys the flash lifestyle that Mike provides. Eventually she got bored of him though because he didn't try it on with her. And
she binned him.
I've spelled binned, B-I-N-D there. That's
and you've
terrible.
written Robert Smithurst.
Robin Smithurst. She went out with him instead.
Is that just not a typo?
These are all characters in Coronation
Robin
Street that I don't.
Smithurst.
I think Coropedia is having a laugh and they're making off a load of
I'm good
character
at
names
adding some people
that I've never heard of before. She seemed to like a bit of a sassy girl, didn't she? Going after Mike for the money and wanting to be taken advantage of by him.
What was Mike thinking, going out with her for a bet and then just lavishing gifts upon her? Or whatever.
Yeah, it must have been a quite hefty bet, really.
Why would you get...
Otherwise, you're not going to come out even, are you?
I mean, look, I'm not dissing guys here or trying to insinuate that they're all have a one-track mind, but...
Especially one's called Mike.
She's not a bad-looking girl. And if she's going out with you, even if it is for a bet, wouldn't you have a bit of a fumble anyway? I mean...
I wouldn't.
Why isn't he trying it on with her?
We Mikes are a gentleman.
Mike Baldwin we're talking about.
Right.
1978. Despite Gail being interested in him, Suzie lures Steve to bed.
Who's Steve?
Steve Fisher.
Oh, of course, Steve Fisher, the van man.
The van man? Yeah, he's Mike Baldwin's van driver. He has already got a girlfriend and it just goes straight back to her.
Okay, so Mike then had to close the shop. Suzie... No, what's it called?
Mike Fisher. Steve Fisher.
He goes off. Mike has to close Sylvia's separate shop when a bigger boutique opens in town, so he sacks Suzie and Gail first. Now, because Mike was a bit of a dodgy bloke, he sacked them. Yeah, avoids paying redundancy and says, "Oh, I'm going to sack you first," because they often used to close the shop early and then go off and sneak into the Rovers, but they eventually got compensation from him because, oh, there's Steve again, he's back. Steve rumbled Mike, he found out.
Which Steve?
Fisher.
Steve Fisher.
Steve Fisher. Suzie decided to move to London then, but she didn't like it. She came back a few weeks later because the streets aren't paved with gold.
You
basically.
can't make money in London.
No, but she had told everyone she had a great time, but she felt her home was Weatherfield. I think she was a bit of a liar. I get the impression. She strikes me as the sort of person that wants everybody to think that she's kind of got this glamorous lifestyle and everything's better than it actually is. A bit of a show off.
Nothing wrong with faking it till you make it.
That's Susie's motto, isn't it?
Yeah.
By the looks of it.
She became a supermarket demonstrator, but she told everyone that she was a model.
Is a
now,
supermarket
what is it? Is that the
demonstrator?
sort of person who goes, eat this cheese? Isn't it great?
No, I think it's somebody who strokes the vegetables and says, "Oh, look how beautiful these plums are." I don't know.
Plum is not a vegetable.
Oh no, fruit.
She
that
started
shows what I know.
dating her agent, 52-year-old Paul. Why has she got an agent if she's a supermarket demonstrator?
Well,
So the
obviously.
70s were a strange time, weren't they?
Well, that was a time
managed
of
to
women
do-
draping themselves over things in scantily
I don't know
clad
why-
bikinis or whatever.
Why does anyone buy
With their
anything these
bigger-
days? And there's
big
nobody to demonstrate.
Hairstyles.
She started dating her agent, 52-year-old Paul, which rubbed Elsie up the wrong way because she did not like Suzie coming back and bonking.
Yeah.
And then she dumps Paul because he makes her feel slutty. She's got morals.
Yeah. And then she quit the factory job and this doesn't make sense. She quit her demonstrating job. I don't know what I was talking
You were
about when I wrote
drunk.
these notes. I was sitting on your mum's dad's sofa when I was writing these notes. She quit her job at the supermarket and became a machinist at the factory because that's where all good women go to work in Coronation Street. 1979. Gail was going out with Gail was going out with Brian there, but Ivy, Brian's mum, wasn't very happy with this situation. But so Suzie stood up for Gail because they were busy mates and everything. But not for long, because Suzie danced with Brian and then she had a falling out with Gail. But they made up in time for her to be a bridesmaid to them in November. How interesting.
Now, Elsie
really.
tries to sell number 11, so Suzie tries to stop her by putting off potential buyers with the help of her punk boyfriend, Norman.
Norman the punk.
What else would you want to rebel against, really? I mean, that is the ultimate rebellion, to become a punk if your name is Norman. I bet his parents did not see this coming.
Not the most famous Norman to grace the streets, because obviously Curly's name was Norman as well. He was not a punk.
Well,
He was Norman the Square.
I
This was
kinda
Norman the punk.
believe that Curly was not his real name.
Anyway, she got sacked by Mike because she kept coming into work late, so she decided to move to London for good, and that was the last we saw of her in Coronation Street for 4 years. The actress was let go because it was felt that she served no purpose now that Gail was married.
Gail needs no friends, she's a wife.
Exactly. She had different storylines to get involved with then. It seems to me like Susie's not really served much purpose at all in the time she's been in it.
I think you'll find that she's done lots of things and she was a big slag, and everyone loves big slags.
But she came back in 1983 for
That's
a
why
little
everyone
while.
loves Maria.
Yes, she seems a bit
She is a
Maria-ish,
big
doesn't she?
slag.
Maria went off to London, didn't she?
Yeah,
Get
come back with a
married.
husband. 1983, she came back to Weatherfield after a 3-month marriage to abusive Terry Goodwin. So this is obviously the gay guy who needed a green card or whatever it is.
Called Terry.
Terry, yeah. Terry. She moved back in with Elsie, who decided not to sell the house in the end after all. And she shares a room with Marion Willis.
Do you know that name?
Marion, yeah.
No, you don't. You don't know
Marion
who
Willis,
is.
yeah, she was short, she had brown hair,
You're making it up.
and she had freckles.
No,
And
she
tell me
didn't.
that's not true.
I think I know who Marion Willis is. Is that the person that got married to
The
to Eddie
reason I
Yates?
remember her the most was because she was so fed up with Susie's lazy attitude, and so she moved into the front
No, I'm
parlour.
just reading my
That
notes.
is the most famous
These
thing
are my notes.
that people remember
Stop
about
taking
Marion
credit
Willis,
for it.
and good old Steve Fisher. Who can forget him?
Susie got a job at the Rovers, even though there was no job available. And Bet got worried that Susie was more popular than her, and she managed to persuade Annie to let her go. And then Terry showed up. Terry. Blaming his abusive behaviour on depression. He said, come on,
I was
get
sad.
back together again.
Sorry, I was mean, but I was just sad.
Yeah, so Elsie tried to play Cupid and get them back together again, But then she changed her mind when she saw more bruises on Susie's face.
It's
Brucey.
like,
If we'd have been doing the
Brucey
podcast, then
Suzie.
there's a story name. Brucey
Oh,
Suzie.
God. Susie files for divorce, and then she tries to seduce Brian. She gets fed up with hearing about how perfect Gail's marriage is. He turns her down, tells Gail, and Gail and Susie have a row, and Elsie
He's a
throws
bit
her
of a
out.
marriage wrecker, isn't she, this Susie?
Susie the floozy.
Yeah, Susie the Brucey Floozy.
Oh, God.
And that's it.
As she gets kicked out of the show.
That is what Suzie Birchall did. So maybe she did more, but I couldn't find any information
I love
about
this
it.
actress.
Why?
Because I like her quote, which we'll get to in a minute.
Okay, so after she finished in Coronation Street, she was on a few other things. She was in Sorry, and she was in Emmerdale for a little bit, but she's now retired. She was diagnosed with MS while she was working at Coronation Street, and yeah, she's been battling it ever since, really, which is very sad, but and it's kind of a bit of a... It's hampered her career somewhat.
Now, her quote is amazing. She's a brilliant person. You'd never get away with saying this now. She said, "I am nothing like Suzie Birchall. She is a very flighty missy after anything in trousers, whereas I think men are pretty stupid. They have a one-track mind.
Oh,
A woman can do three
it's
things
true,
at once.
it's true.
Run a home, children, a job, whereas men panic.
I think people would say that now. I'm sure she
Men
was
are
only...
pretty stupid."
I'm sure she's only doing it tongue-in-cheek. Now there was talk at the time about whether she would ever come back again, but she said no. Well, she was never killed off, so I suppose anything is possible. But I imagine it would not be as much fun. Everyone was like a big family in those days. You hear actors saying this all the time, don't you? There's a lot more pressure now with all the extra episodes. I don't know when she said this, but this is probably when they were like, oh, there's 3 episodes on now.
This is probably when they said that you've written here.
Oh yes,
that she was going to be. It was rumoured she'd be brought back, but when Betty was killed off.
yeah. It's apparently when I don't remember this, when Betty was, well, not when Betty was killed off, when the character had to be killed off.
I'm reading what you're writing,
The
darling.
character had to be killed off after
They went,
Betty
Betty's
Driver.
boring.
No,
Let's get rid of this character. There's
I-
no one to play her anymore.
Don't mock Betty Driver, the legend. We still haven't done a character profile on her yet, I don't think. Anyway, when Betty was going to be
should
given
do
a send-off...
A cooking podcast where we cook a hot pot together.
Yes, we could, couldn't we, to do live? That'd be a YouTube one. Anyway,
When we get our
when
kitchen
Betty,
done.
when they were getting rid of Betty... I can't even say it
Come on,
properly.
go on,
They
you can
were,
do it.
there was rumours in the tabloids and everything that they were going to bring back a load of ex-Rovers barmaids, and they're going to have... I think they say Hilda, they said they were going to have Bet back, they were going to have Suzie Birchall, and in the end,
went, nah,
nobody came back, really.
nah.
There you go. So that's about it. If anyone's got more to say, I think when I was doing a bit of research for this, actually, I remember now, there was something that Tivor posted on the Coronation Street blog a few years ago saying that she liked Suzie Birchall. So can you...
Told you, Marion was...
Yes,
there.
that's who I thought of.
It's exactly how I described her.
Yes, that's who I was thinking of. Gemma's just found a photo of her. Yeah, so please, Tivor, tell us a bit more about Suzie if you've got anything that we may have missed. I don't get... I was trying to think about friendships on Coronation Street and how there's lots of characters, like the idea that Suzie and Gail were the friends. Lots of characters don't really have friends now, do they?
The most important relationships on Coronation Street at the moment are family, romances, and co-workers.
Yeah.
And friends are nowhere to be seen on the show.
It's weird,
they
isn't
really
it?
do not have a
Like-
good model for friendship.
No.
And
Steph, no friends. David, no friends. Luke, kind
Is
of
it-
5 friends-ish with Tyrone, but really they're
but
just
then,
colleagues.
I mean, you see things like
Bethany, no
Norris and Rita and
Yeah.
Audrey.
Old
and
people have
they
friends, is
really
what
are
Coronation
a
Street
much
teaches us.
tighter knit group than the rest of the people on the street. I remember when Tina died, they built up Steph and Tina's friendship, which is quite nice. And then every so often they'll make out that,
Maybe this is why
Gail and someone else are busy
Gail and
mates.
Sally, yeah,
And
every
it's like, no,
once
they
a
don't
year.
ever speak to each other. They're never nice to each other. They never come round for a cup of tea, do they? It's never like, Gail's around here having a cup of tea again.
No.
They never, ever, ever, especially female friendships, they really don't do it.
I know, I'm sure
Tyrone
there
and
are
Kevin are mates.
examples.
There's loads of male friendships, like, let's get on with each other, Tim and Stephen,
But
but
they're
they're more
just drinking
co-worker.
buddies.
Yeah.
They're just drinking buddies. You don't... It seems to me, it strikes me that Suzie and Gail were like the good time girls having a laugh together, and they'd be always sort of inseparable. I think they're the two. Do you remember? Have you seen this scene? You must have seen it somewhere on clip shows where the Gail and Suzie are going around on the tandem. Famous scene.
What's a tandem? Oh,
Tandem,
a bike.
Bicycle made for two.
I know, but there's lots of other things that are tandems.
Oh well, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, there just doesn't seem to be anyone like that. I kind of like.
I would really
characters
like
have
to
friends.
see a
That's
bit
all.
more.
Gary's not got any friends. Izzy's not got any friends.
I would like to see a bit more drama around friends and friendship.
Yeah, because people
People
it's
do
real
have
life. People have
dramas,
friends in real life.
and people do have dramas with their friends.
Yeah,
And it's not like
stuff.
it's not like in real life where, say, you have a friend and then they annoy you, and so you can just never speak to them again. On Coronation Street, you have to see them all the time.
Yeah, more friends, please.
More friends. What storylines can we have with friends? You ever think? Do a brainstorm. Come up with some story ideas. Write to us, and we'll let you know what we think.
Yes, and more friends for Gail as well.
Yeah.
There was another friend she had, Trisha Hopkins. We haven't done her as a character profile yet either. Maybe that's going to be another one for another day.
I just think maybe soaps don't really do friends.
Well, maybe if you're a soap character, it's like you better not make friends because
They might
50-50
die or
chance
leave.
they're going to die or get exploded or leave or whatever. So like, don't get too close. You got to have family. There's nothing you can do about that. And,
lots of grown-ups don't think they have any friends, or what?
well, you've got more friends than I've got. We were just talking about this the other day, weren't we? Like the people that I consider my friends are really just colleagues. I haven't got any friends outside
you've
of
got a
work,
lot
but
more
I've got your friends.
acquaintances than
I'm friends
I've
with
got.
your friends, and that's it.
I don't have any work friends, do I?
No. Well, for people, I'm just saying, for people that like spend all their time, like every evening, down the pub,
Yeah.
socialising, which is not something I would ever do. I'm surprised they don't
I
have
guess
more
it is
mates.
difficult though, because they're all related to each other. It really, if you don't work with someone and you're not their co-worker. I mean, rather to say, you either work with someone or you're their family on Coronation Street. There's very few people that don't have some kind of.
There's few people that don't live on the street, and if it was friends, if they were friends from outside the street, then I don't know what I'm trying to say.
No, I don't. But do you know, there was that Mule Face storyline that had like Luke and all that lot, like in a gang, and that was kind of cool. But again, it was another
seems a
male
bit funny.
friendship.
I suppose I was saying about Steph, not her not having any friends. She was friends with Katie, wasn't she? That's how she was brought in, being a friend.
And she was friends with Tina.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's all we can take away from Suzie Birchall.
More friends.
More friends.
Everyone needs a friend.
Yeah.